The sky outside the ship was dark and endless. Saturn's giant body floated just beyond the glass, glowing faintly with pale golden light. Its rings stretched like silent rivers of ice and rock, circling the planet like a crown. Inside the observation deck, Commander Eli Voss stared at it without blinking. He had seen it 100 times on screen back on Earth, but here, face to face with it, Saturn felt like a sleeping god. The year was 2194. Humanity had sent explorers to Mars, Europa, even Pluto. But no one had gotten this close to Saturn's rings and lived to tell the tale. The mission was called Solus 9, a deep space research expedition sent to study magnetic storms on Titan, Saturn's largest moon. But something had gone wrong. 2 days ago, the ship's communication officer, Raina Joe, picked up a strange signal, short, pulsing, like a heartbeat. It came from Titan's surface, where there were no human settlements. The signal repeated every 13 minutes. At first, they thought it was natural, just radio waves bouncing through the methane clouds. But then it changed. The pulse became clearer, more regular. It formed a pattern, 3 long tones, 3 short, then 3 long again. Morse code. SOS. Everyone on board felt it. The weight of those 3 letters. The horror of the idea. Someone was alive on Titan, but no mission had ever gone there and returned. According to Earth records, the only attempt to land there, Vanguard 12, was lost over 40 years ago. It had vanished before even entering Titan's thick orange clouds. Eli called an emergency meeting with the small crew. Raina, Dr. Miles Corin, the exobiologist, Navtechs Leo and Arjun, and mission pilot Kala Ives. The room was silent except for the hum of the ship's reactor. Everyone looked pale. No one should be down there, Eli said, holding a tablet with the signal log. But this is human. Dr. Corin leaned forward. It could be automatic. Maybe a beacon still running after all these years. Raina shook her head. No, it changed. It's not looping anymore. The message adjusted when we responded. You answered it, Eli asked. I did. I pinged back, just static bursts. Then the signal came again, stronger. Slower. Maybe someone survived, Leo said quietly. Survived 40 years, Arjun scoffed. That's impossible. There's nothing down there but cold, gas, and storms. No food, no sun. It's death. Kala crossed her arms. So what? We ignore it. They all looked at Eli. He made the call that night. They would land. The next morning, Solus 9 began descent into Titan's atmosphere. The ship rumbled as thick clouds swallowed them whole. Winds slammed against the hull. Orange mist spread across every window. Static filled the speakers. Outside, lightning crackled across the sky. They couldn't see anything. Titan's surface was a frozen wasteland of lakes, made from methane and ice-covered mountains. As the ship hovered closer to the source of the signal, their screens flickered. Energy levels spiked. Instruments failed one by one. But then, through the haze, they saw it. A light. Faint. Pulsing. They landed. The moment Eli stepped onto Titan's surface, the cold gripped his bones even through the suit. Visibility was almost zero. The ground crunched underfoot like glass. The signal came louder through their headsets now, repeating every 10 seconds. They moved toward the source, step by step. The fog lifted for a moment. There it was, a small dome, half buried in ice. Rusted panels. A broken antenna. Vanguard 12. Eli's heart raced. They weren't just hearing ghosts. This was real. Kala opened the dome's hatch. It groaned like something ancient waking up. Inside, it was dark, but still warm. Systems glowed weakly. And then, they heard something none of them expected. Breathing. They followed the sound deeper inside, lights sweeping across walls filled with frost. And then the beam landed on a figure. A man, sitting upright. Connected to cables and machines, skin pale, eyes shut. Alive. Everyone froze. Eli stepped closer. Sir, can you hear me? The man opened his eyes. They were glowing. Not white. Not blue. Fiery gold. He spoke with a voice that echoed, even in the quiet dome. You shouldn't have come. The lights flickered. Outside, something rumbled through the ground. Raina screamed. The entire dome began to shake. The floor split open with a blast of light, and for a brief second, Eli saw something below the ice, a spinning structure, metallic and massive, humming like it was alive. The man stood, ripping the cables from his body. He looked at the crew, eyes still burning. "They see you now." The sky above them cracked open with fire, and in orbit above Titan, Saturn's rings began to glow. Not with sunlight, but with something else, something alive. Commander Eli Voss couldn't move. The ground still shook beneath his feet. Ice cracked loudly outside the dome. Red warning lights blinked on the walls. The air felt strange, thick and charged, like just before a lightning strike. The man from Vanguard 12 stood tall in front of them, his eyes glowing like twin suns. "You brought them here," he said again, his voice calm but cold. "You answered the signal." Reyna's voice broke the silence in Eli's headset. "Who are you?" The man didn't answer. He walked past them and placed a hand on the control panel at the center of the dome. Screens lit up. Symbols, none of them recognized, filled the displays. Strange lines, circles, and moving lights. Kala raised her scanner. "What language is that?" Dr. Corrin's voice trembled. "It's not human." Eli stepped forward. "Start from the beginning. Who are you? How did you survive?" The man finally looked at him. His voice softened, as if remembering something. "My name is Elias Kale. I was on Vanguard 12. We were the first to land on Titan. Only 3 of us made it to the surface. The others died in orbit when our ship failed." Leo stared. "Elias Kale? That mission was 43 years ago." "I know." "That's impossible." Kale's eyes flickered brighter. "We thought we were alone, but when we came down, we found something beneath the ice. Something old." Quote, he turned to the wall and pointed to a large screen. Slowly, a shape appeared. A ring. Not like Saturn's, but smoother, artificial. Glowing. "They call it the core? We thought it was a cave." But it was not. It was a machine. It woke up when we touched it. "What do you mean they?" Eli asked. Kale's expression darkened. "I don't know what they are. But they live in the rings. Not made of ice. Not anymore. Something changed them. They're alive now. Watching." Waiting, Reyna stepped back Saturn's rings. "They're alive." Kale nodded. "The core showed me things. Sounds. Visions. I saw Saturn's rings glow like fire. Not from sunlight. From inside. They spin faster when we look away. Slower when we watch. They feed on attention. Curiosity. That's why they sent the signal." "But why you?" Arjun asked. "Why keep you alive?" Kale looked down at his hands. They were trembling. "I don't know. Maybe because I saw them. Maybe because I changed." Eli looked at Kale carefully. "You said they see us now. What does that mean?" Kale looked out the frosted window. "It means you don't have much time." Suddenly, Reyna's voice cried out, "Commander, you need to hear this." Quote, back on Solus 9, the ship's systems were picking up massive movement around Saturn's orbit. The rings were shifting, breaking their usual pattern, spinning faster, energy spikes, radio bursts. Then, something else. Shapes, long, thin, and moving against gravity. Objects inside the rings, Reyna whispered dozens. "No, hundreds. Like ships. Or wings." Kale's voice came through the headset again. They were never just rocks. Outside the dome, the sky turned darker. A low hum began to build from the ground. The snow around the dome started to melt in circles. Eli turned to Kale. "We're getting out of here. You're coming with us." "No," Kale said, "I can't leave. I'm connected now. If I go, they'll follow." "You don't have a choice," Kala snapped. "If those things are coming, we need to go now." Kale shook his head slowly. "You don't understand. The rings aren't just alive. They remember. And they never forget a signal." Suddenly, alarms blared on the dome's system. A wave of pressure hit the surface. Ice burst into the air. The ground collapsed behind the dome, revealing a massive spiral, metallic and glowing, just beneath the surface. It rotated slowly, pulling in air, light, even sound. Dr. Corrin gasped. "It's rising," They ran. Eli grabbed Kale's arm. "You're coming with us." Kale didn't fight. They climbed into the transport rover and raced back towards Solus 9. The path was shaking beneath them, and the sky above turned red-orange with strange light. Behind them, the core fully emerged from the ice, tall like a tower, humming like a living thing. They reached the ship. Raina and Leo got the engines running. The storm above grew worse. But just before takeoff, the ship's lights went out. Everything stopped. Dead silence. Then a voice filled the ship. Not Kale's. Not human. Something deep. Something massive. It spoke inside their minds. "You are not welcome." And then they saw it. Out the window. In orbit above Titan. Saturn's rings. Glowing like fire. Burning red. Spinning faster than physics should allow. And breaking apart. Piece by piece. Each piece was shaped like a blade. Or a wing. They were coming. The ship shook. Hard. Solus 9 lifted from Titan's surface, but not smoothly. The thrusters roared louder than normal. Outside, the sky was no longer orange. It was blood red, lit by strange flashes from above. Lightning streaked across the clouds in shapes that looked almost like letters or symbols. Raina struggled to keep the systems online. "The navigation's jammed. Something's messing with the signal. I can't lock onto orbit." Kala gripped the control stick. "I can fly blind. But we need to know what's out there." Eli turned to the observation window. His eyes widened. Saturn's rings were no longer rings. They had broken apart and reformed into something terrifying. Giant shapes circled the planet. Long, thin, like spears or wings. They moved in perfect rhythm, faster than any natural object should move. Each one glowed with red fire, like veins of lava inside metal. Kale stood at the back of the bridge, staring into space. His eyes were dim now, flickering gold. "They're not machines," he said quietly. "They're guardians. Sentinels. They sleep inside the rings. When someone gets too close, they wake," Dr. Corrin whispered. "But why now?" Kale answered without turning. "Because I called them." Eli stepped toward him. "You sent the signal." Kale nodded slowly. "I didn't mean to. I thought I could control it. But the core, it uses people. It needed someone to speak for it. I've been here 40 years trying to stop it. I failed." Suddenly, alarms screamed. Raina looked up. "Something's locking onto us." Quote, one of the winged shapes was descending, not falling, flying. Straight toward them. "It's faster than light," Arjun said, voice shaking. "That's not possible." Kale turned. "They don't follow our laws." The ship lurched again. A glowing beam of red light scraped across the left side, tearing through one of the engine arms. Metal screamed. Sparks flew. The ship spun sideways. Kala shouted, "Hold on!" They dropped like a stone. Titan's surface rushed back up toward them. Then, at the last second, the thrusters kicked in just enough to stop the crash. The ship skidded along the icy ground and came to a hard stop beside a frozen cliff. Everything went still. Silence. Smoke filled the cabin. The crew coughed, pulled off helmets, checked each other. They were alive, but trapped. Leo scanned the systems. Engines are down. Shield grid offline. We're grounded. Eli looked at the screen. The ring creatures were still above them, watching, waiting. Raina turned to Kale. "What do they want from us?" Kale looked tired. "Not you. Me. Why?" "Because I've seen the core. I've touched it. I'm part of it now." Dr. Corrin stepped forward. "If we give you to them, will they let us go?" Kale didn't answer. Eli shook his head. "We're not sacrificing anyone. We need another way." Kale stepped closer. "There is one." Everyone looked at him. Kale pointed to a dark mountain in the distance under there. "There's a second core. Smaller. A control unit. I found it years ago but couldn't reach it. Too deep. Too unstable. But it can send a shutdown pulse." Raina asked. "Shutdown what?" "The sentinels," Kale said. "The ones in the rings. It can put them back to sleep." Eli didn't hesitate. "Then We go there. Kala stared at him. In what? We don't have flight. We barely have wheels. We walk, Eli said, or we die here. They packed what they could. Cold suits, weapons, signal gear. Kale led the way. The walk was slow, painful, through sharp winds and freezing fog. The ground trembled every few minutes, like the moon itself was breathing. As they reached the edge of the cliffs, the sky above them changed again. A single ring creature was descending, not flying this time, falling slowly. It landed on the other side of the frozen valley. It was huge. Its wings were made of crystal and fire. Its head was not a head, but a single spinning eye. It saw them. Kale whispered, "Keep moving." But it didn't attack, it just watched. As if warning them, the team entered a narrow ice cave at the base of the mountain. Inside, it was quiet, almost warm. The walls shimmered like metal mixed with glass. Strange veins pulsed inside the ice, glowing, faintly blue. After an hour of climbing, they reached a chamber. At the center was the core. It was smaller than the first one, but more alive. Lights moved across its surface like living circuits. It pulsed with energy. Kale approached it and touched a small panel. The core lit up. Everyone stepped back. Kale turned to them. "This is it. Once I activate it, they'll know. They'll come. You have to get back to the ship." Eli stepped forward. "We're not leaving you." Kale gave him a sad smile. "You already saved me, but now I need to save you." Before Eli could stop him, Kale placed both hands on the core. His body began to glow, faint at first, then brighter. He looked up. "Tell Earth, the rings are not what they seem." Outside the cave, the mountain shook. Above Titan, the ring creatures screamed in unison, a sound like metal tearing space apart. They had seen the activation. They were coming. The mountain roared. The ice walls cracked open with deafening sound. Red light spilled through the fissures like fire leaking from a broken sky. Eli shouted, "Kale, stop! They're coming for you!" But Kale didn't move. His hands were locked to the core, his body glowing brighter. His eyes were pure gold now. No pupils, no veins, just fire. Kala pulled Raina back as pieces of the cave ceiling began to fall. "We have to go! Now!" "But Kale," Raina said. "He made his choice," Eli said. "We honor it by surviving." The crew ran. The tunnel shook behind them as the mountain split apart. The sky outside was no longer red. It was black. Silent. All the stars were gone. No, they weren't gone. They were blocked by wings. Dozens of the ring creatures hovered above the cliffs, spinning, watching, glowing like broken halos. Kale's voice came into their comms, but it was layered now. His voice echoed with something deeper, older, like two people speaking at once. "The core is awake. I see everything now. I see how it began." Raina stopped, looked up. "Kale, what is it?" "What are they?" His voice answered gently. "They are memory. Of a species long gone. The rings were their burial ground, their guardians, their warning." Eli stared up at the sky. "A warning to who?" "To us," Kale said. "We were not meant to reach them." But we did. The crew reached the wrecked Solus 9 and scrambled inside. Systems flickered to life. Leo and Arjun started the power core manually while Kala rebooted navigation. Kale's voice kept coming through. "The core can't destroy them, but it can silence them. Put them back to sleep. For now." "Then do it," Eli said. A long pause. "Then, but it needs one life." The crew fell silent. "No," Raina said. "We'll find another way." "There isn't," Kale said. "I was chosen the day I touched the core. This was always going to be my end." Outside, the sky brightened again. The ring creatures were diving. Eli gave the order, "Launch!" Engines screamed. The ship lifted. The mountain behind them cracked open like an egg. A column of light shot into the sky, blinding, red, gold, white, like a star being born. The ring creatures screamed. All at once, they stopped, froze mid-air. Then slowly, silently, they returned to orbit, folding back into the remains of Saturn's rings. The sky cleared. The stars came back. And Kale's voice faded with the wind. I remember now. My name was Elias Kale. I was human. I loved the stars. But some doors were never meant to open silence. The core dimmed. Back on Solus 9, the crew watched the rings from space. They were whole again, perfect, like nothing had ever changed. But they had seen it. All of it. Kala whispered, "Do we tell Earth?" Eli stared at the golden planet. "Yes," he said. "But not everything," Dr. Corrin asked. "Why not?" Eli said. "Because some truths don't protect. They only burn." They set course for home. Behind them, Saturn turned slowly. Its rings shimmered once in the sunlight. For a second. Just a second. They glowed like fire, then faded to ice once more.